big thanks. Wow, you guys are amazing. Thank you for sharing these stories. Remember, guys, it's a live chat. You can go on and drop in the comments. Lillian says staying in a toxic relationship can cost you more than leaving ever will. And it is so true. It is so true. By the time this person leaves you or you decide to leave a job, you've actually become old and can't be employed anywhere else. By the time you realize you need to change in these family dynamics and walk away, you've probably gone mad and can't help yourself, or they've bewitched you and you're homeless and they're just laughing. If it's a relationship, this person has reduced you to nothing. You don't have any self-worth, self-value. And if it's a friendship, these friends who just come and all the time you are drunk with them. You're never sober. You will never, by before you know it, you're old, homeless, with disease. Because if it's a relationship that is not working, guys, we need to realize early and walk away. They are telltale signs, but we tend to overlook them. Now we are going to talk about attachment versus genuine connection. The myth of quitting means failure. There is that thing that we have engraved in us that if you leave, maybe it's a job or it's a family, it's failure. And Christine says it was a toxic relationship that led to losing my job, but I got a better one. But I got a better job now. Oh, I'm really, really clapping up for the ladies that are stepping up for themselves today. Christine, kudos. And I'm glad you chose, you chose the path you did because really things turned out different for you. And Lillian says a healthy relationship should add to your life, not drain your energy and joy. Those are words of truer words that have never been spoken. Lillian, you've said it right. It should not drain you. It shouldn't drain you, but bring you joy and life. Yeah, so those are telltale signs. So if there's anyone there who is wondering, is it my job? And also their dreams. Dreams, when do we walk away from dreams that don't serve us? So like I had a dream of living in town, in the city. But for some reason, no one is inviting me. I can't get a job. Guess what? Take advantage of where you are now. Take root. And while you do that, while your eyes and focus are not on such things, guess what? Life in the city will happen for you if it's in your destiny. But an example that I can give perfect is going abroad. For us who live in Uganda, we tend to think life is better abroad. And so you can live in your head, I'll go to China one day and live in China. I'll go to America and live in America. And so you don't take root here. You, instead of buying land, your friends are buying, you're not buying. Instead of getting married and finding someone and settling, you're not settling. Why? You have it in your head that you go to China and get a Chinese person. You go to America. Like this lady I knew, she always wanted to get married to an American height. Yeah, and I quote, American height. I don't know what that meant to her, but in my head, I'm thinking someone who is tall and because he had to be American. So any guy who would approach, she was like, I'm preserving myself for the American coming in. And American has never happened. It's been over, 20 years, and she's still there waiting for the American. She finally was successful and went to America. But no American is looking at her because while America happened, she was maybe, already beaten up by the waiting. And so far, no one has seen her, but maybe someone will soon now that she's in America. I want to read some comments that have just come in. And Roger says, hi, everyone. Hi, Rogers. I'm glad that you've tuned in. I know you're a busy person. Thank you so much for tuning in. Christine says, true, Lillian, thanks. Yeah, Lillian, thank you for the advice. Probably you could also give us any stories or someone who walked away from a relationship that was not serving them. Otherwise, when we go to the myth, I was talking about the myth of quitting. And Nasasira, I think, Bruce says, I walked away from a girl I loved so much because she wasn't committed to me. It's 5 years now. However, I still feel empty. I will feel normal again. Will I feel normal again? Nasasira, you will, my dear. Remember, there is a right person for everyone. If that relationship didn't work out and for some reason you walked away, there has to be a reason why you left. You said she was not committing. That means you loved her more than she loved you. And if that was the case, trust me, my brother, you did not make a mistake. I've been married, and I'm telling you, if you are in a relationship with someone and that person doesn't feel the same way about you, it's worse. It's better when you don't get married. At least you can walk away. But when you're married and then you realize this person is not into you, it hurts and you die a depressed person. But if you manage to walk away, guess what, Nasasia? Someone will come who will appreciate you for your height, your size, your wallet, and your background, for what you stand for, and she will be willing to commit. And trust me, you will be happy again. Right now, you're depressed, you don't see uh, how you can get out of such a rotten situation, but trust me, there is light at the end of the channel. Hang in there, my brother. They are beautiful ladies, born every single day. That was one goat that you are not. Oh, I'm sorry. That was one mistake of a girl that you thought you had. You know, there are some things we like or we want, but are not meant for us. Now, I'll give an example. If you're small and you go and see this dress in the shop, it is big and big on you, but you go for it anyway. You adjust it and adjust, and somehow along the way, because it was meant for big people, once you adjust it so many times, it will become off. It won't be as amazing as it was before you adjusted it. So she wasn't meant for you. I know she was beautiful. I know she had won your heart over. But trust me, a person who doesn't appreciate you the same way you do, you didn't make a mistake and you'll be happy after. I just gave an example of a lady whose man had walked away from after having 4 children. And a white man came and swept her off her feet, married her, adopted the kids. Now she's British. That's the story. So there's hope, my brother. You get someone. And Rogers says, "How are you, Lillian?" Lillian Rogers is saying hi. And Blessing says, "Very true." Christine says, "You will, Bruce, because there is one meant for you," as Winfred said in the beginning, and Lillian said it right, it should be joyful but not draining. So just accept to move on, move away, and move away from denial about it. Yeah, I hope that helps you, my brother. You'll be okay. When we've just left toxic relationships, it feels like, will I ever find someone? If it's a job, you're like, will I ever get another one? If it's a family, you're like, will I ever be happy because I've cut off myself from these people? If it's a dream, will I ever go to that place? But giving up doesn't mean it will never happen. And there's also that saying that if something is yours, let it go. If it ever comes back, then it is surely yours. But if it doesn't, it wasn't meant. So if that person was not meant to be in your life, you let her go. You let go of love. Guess what? Love will come back to your way and you'll be happier than you've ever been. This girl will have no number on the one you will get. Trust me, just believe. And I think she will come at the right time. The other probably came at a wrong time where you were too emotional and involved yourself more than you should have. The reason why I say this is normally true love should be two-way. You love me, I love you back. That way our cups are always filled. But if it's one way, the one cup pours in, another just receives, it gets to a place where you've poured in enough and there's no more, and someone has got to refill you so that you can be able to refill someone else. So if that doesn't happen, don't ever live in regret. Things will get better. And Cedric says it takes a level of faith to walk away from what you have to nothing. You guys have faith. Yeah, it actually takes faith that things will work out. You walk away and have faith, even if it is work, family. If they ever get better, you get back to them. Even if it is a dream, it takes faith. You're right, Cedric, and thank you on that one. Roger says, Lydian says, hello, Rogers. And Roger says, Mommy, how is my Indian lady? This husband, oh, sorry, this husband left her in Uganda with 4 children. Well, that lady, I met her one time. I had gone, like I said, with my sister to get her rings engraved. And I've never heard from her, but probably I should pay her a visit, see if she's still there. I hope, Rogers, you're not planning on getting involved with this Indian lady because she's way older than you. I don't know how old you are, but if, Rogers, you don't have those many kids, she's probably way older. But again, like I said, there's this one who has had 4 kids and a white man came and swept her off. You could be her knight and shining armor. Never, we shouldn't take things lightly. And hello, Lydian. Long time, Roger says. And Lydian says, very true. Bruce, the right person will come along. If she left you, then she wasn't the right one for you. Yeah, that she wasn't. Truly, she wasn't. And we are not trying to comfort you. Have faith that she wasn't. The right person will stick around. Guys, the right person sticks around. Regardless of where you have been or what you've been through, that person will stay with you, whether you have money, whether you are not well, and they'll try and make sure you build a life together. But one who is always distracting and pulling away from what you're trying to build is not committing. You look at Christine's story. The man said he's coming for to visit and get to know the relatives. She prepared, and the man never showed up on the day that was supposed to show. Guess what? She's now married with 3 kids. That is testimony enough for you, my dear. I hope that helps. Now, I will talk about this one who sent in a story. She says, I stayed in a job that drained me for 4 years. Why? That is what she has said. Why did I stay in a job that drained me for 4 years? Like, I think the reason why you stayed was because you didn't have hope that you could get another one. You didn't want to try out, that fear of the unknown. You don't know whether there is anything out there for you to do. And the feeling of letting go, the fear, and also the comfort that job was giving you. Probably that's why you stayed on that job. And I want to read some comments. You remember, guys, it's a live chat, so keep them coming. I will read every one of them. And Nasasra Bruce says, thank you so much, teacher. Winfred, Lillian, and Christine have really felt relieved. And you will, my dear, once you take the faith, like Cedric has said, and believe that things will work out. Trust me, you will be happier than you're even feeling today. Now, I will talk about the psychological opinion. A psychologist explains and says how our brains resist change. Even when the current situation is harmful, there is a way our brains have been wired. We are in relationships, in situations that are not helpful but harmful, but our brains, there is a way they resist change, even when the current situation is harmful. That is what I got from the psychologist. And there are red flags, he says, we ignore. There are red flags always in those kinds of situations. And there is emotional abuse. When they say red flags, there are those things that you can see and know this is not going anywhere. Like Nasasira just said that this girl was not committing. Like Christine said, the man never showed up. It is foolish of us to, we always have hope that maybe he will come next time if I arrange. If Christine had not, had got faith that this is time to close these doors and move on, she would still be waiting on this guy who is fearing to commit or who is never going to commit and wouldn't be having those 3 kids. If it is about work and you're afraid, like this Caroline who just said I stayed in a job that drained me for 4 years. Why? Yeah, guys, the time we realize is the time we can redeem. The time we don't realize is the time we've lost or we are losing. But there are always telltale signs. This person doesn't care, doesn't respond, but we hang in there. These family members are just draining you and draining you and draining you emotionally, physically, spiritually, or this workplace that always keeps on taking from you all your life but is not giving back. You can't even buy land from the years that you've worked there. They are red flags, but we tend to ignore them. There is also the emotional abuse, where you're in a relationship and this person is always reducing you, showing you that there's no one better than them, or there's nothing better out there for you than me. What you see is the best thing you've ever got since ice cream. You know, there is that emotional abuse, and you start believing a lie. That disrespect, those are all red flags. The psychologist said that we are in wrong relationships and we should walk away. When this person is disrespectful of you, we all deserve respect. Yeah. But when this person is disrespectful of you, my dear, you leave. You leave. And there is also manipulation. This person is always telling you, if you leave, I'll kill myself. Or if you leave, you'll never have a job like this. If you leave this church, you'll never be blessed. If you leave, that kind of manipulation that keeps us from walking away. The feeling of constantly being drained, anxious, or less than. You're constantly feeling less than, you're feeling drained, you're feeling anxious, something may happen. What if this person leaves? What if they fire me? What if, these friends leave me? Will I ever get other friends? Because, like I said, walking away from friendships, from relationships, from dreams, from uh, family dynamics, all these are things that we can at some point think of walking away from. Yeah, another red flag is the lack of growth or mutual effort. You've been at the same place of work, and there's nothing to show for the years that you've been there. You've been with this person, and he cannot commit. It's been years, counting down, 10 years now, and it's like, yeah, we'll go someday. Yeah, I'll marry you. One of these days I'll marry you, and he never does. When is it time to walk away? Those are red flags that if this person is not committing now, they are not the type. But if it's commitment you want, then it's time for you to realize and walk away. Not being heard or valued. There are some relationships where a person is, and you're not even heard. You can't even say anything, and that is taken as anything. There is this girl who had met some rich man. He was a racer, or he is a racer. Those who drive race cars? And the girl was pretty. But then this man saw her because of her beauty and would take her to these places where they are fellow racers. And when she would say something about anything, he would just stay quiet. Even if someone asked her, "What is your name? How are you?" Just stay quiet, sit there and just look pretty. Get a drink, sit there, don't talk to anyone. Now, the girl was silent until she decided, enough is enough, because the embarrassment every single time. Now, had she not got to that point, she would just be swimming in this whole, they take me to expensive parties, I get to be the girlfriend of the racer, and she would swim in only that cheap hula balloon, yeah? As opposed to, rising up to her potential, being someone who can be heard when she speaks and valued. All the man wanted from her is her looks, and that's it. Don't say a word, don't suggest, don't talk to anyone. That was not right. But those are some of the red flags that we need to leave and walk away. Now, I have this quote that I have to put out there. It says, energy doesn't lie. If you are always tired around them, listen to that. I mean, energy doesn't lie. If you're always tired being around someone, yeah,